by this first beatitude. What does it mean to be poor in spirit? Somebody came up to me one day and he really was very curious and very sincere in asking the question, Brother Bo, does it mean to be spiritually poor? It means that, you don't know God, your spiritual life is poor and you are far away from God. I said, no. To be poor in spirit is one word, it's humility. Can you say that word, humility? Humility. Humility means you are open to the grace of God. You are totally open and hungry for the power of God. By the way, brothers and sisters, hi, this is Bo Sanchez here in Preacher in Blue Jeans. And I am in the place where Jesus preached the Sermon on the Mount. This is somewhere here. This is where Matthew 5 happened. This is a place where Jesus spoke about the Beatitudes, where he communicated his word to his people. And I have this story that I'm sure you heard also, or some of you heard the story already, but I'll share it again, of what I mean by humility, what it means to be poor in spirit. Everybody say that again, poor in spirit.
Poor in spirit.
There was this younger monk, and he wanted to know the secret to holiness and happiness. And so he goes to this older monk, and the older monk was up in a mountain, and he knocks on the door, and the door opens, and the older monk says to the younger monk, "What is it, my son? What do you need?" And the younger monk said, "I want to know the secret to holiness." And so the older monk says, "Follow me." And so they go down, these two men go down through the forest and to a river. And the younger monk and the older monk waded into the river. It was ankle deep. And then after a while it was knee deep. And then after a while it reached to their thigh and to their waist. And finally it was chest deep. When the water was chest deep, all of a sudden, without any warning, the older monk grabs the head of the younger monk and he dunks it into the water. And the younger monk, for a while, was just wondering why in the world was his head submerged in water. But then when he could not breathe anymore, and his arms was flailing wildly, and the older monk still kept his head under the water, and the younger monk was saying, "What is this old man trying to do to me? Is he trying to kill me?" But finally, when he was out of breath, when he was about to go to heaven, the older monk raised up his head and he began to inhale like a vacuum cleaner. My gosh! And the younger monk said to the older monk, "Why are you doing this? Why did you do that?" And the older monk said, "You wanted to know the secret to holiness. The secret to holiness is if you need God the way you need air right now, then you become holy." And that, my friends, is the meaning of being poor in spirit. Being poor in spirit means to be desperate for God. Everybody say that word, desperate.
Desperate.
Today, many people are religious, but they're not desperate. Many people pray, but they're not desperate. Many people try to follow God, but they're not desperate. If you want to be really close to God, and if you really want to be holy, and if you really want to be happy, and if you really want to be successful in life, you've got to be desperate for God. There is really only one channel to the power of God. There's really only one conduit to the power of God. How many of you want the power of God to flow into your life? There is really only one pipeline from the power of God to your life. And that pipeline is humility. That pipeline is being desperate for God. When you have a goal, when you have a dream, and you aspire for it, you should do everything in your power to do it. But even all that you do comes from the power of God. And then at the end of the day, when you've done everything, you look up to the sky and you say, "Lord, I've done everything. Come and take over and take charge."
Thank you for your donations and love offerings to Kerygma family. Your generosity allows us to spread God's word through broadcasts like today's episode. May God bless you abundantly.